In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke.
We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff. No filters. Just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
Hey, ADNC family. I hope all is well. Emma Ansah coming to you live from Canada. It is Friday, as I like to call it. And we made it through the end of the week. So I hope everybody has a good weekend planned. Now, you saw the initial video that just showed. So again, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already grabbed the African Diaspora News Channel app, make sure that you do head over to your Google or Apple store and grab that app. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. You'll have exclusive content to stuff you will not see here ever. And then you also have exclusive content at least 24 hours before it hits YouTube. So, I mean, come on. There's no reason why you shouldn't get it. So I expect you to run over and grab it. So today we are talking about the hot mess express of immigration here in Canada. And the libs have made a colossal mess, and they're just getting grilled. They're on the hot seat. So we're going to look at a grilling session that took place with Canada's, I think I'll start with Canada's Public Safety Minister, Gary Anandasangari. And he was grilled by Conservative MP Frank Caputo, and he's asking him about the terrorists that are running around here that they just don't really have true numbers of to start with. And then also getting into the fact that there's 33,000 undocumented immigrants that are still here that they can't find, that need to be removed. There are warrants out for their arrest. So we'll start with that. And then we'll also look at Canada's Immigration Minister, Lena Diab, who's also taking the hot seat. And she's being agreed by Conservative MP to talk about how all of these temporary foreign workers are getting all these jobs, and we have a major unemployment crisis going on in this country. So we'll start with the grilling that took place with Gary Anandasangari, and as I said, the public safety minister. Sorry. Let's just take a look.
The IRGC are roaming in Canada. There are far too many of them. You have deported one. That's it. Precise number. How many IRGC operatives do you know to be in Canada? Just the number.
We're tracking 24 individuals who are deemed to be inadmissible, who are going through the process of being removed. One of them has a scheduled removal date. We have 6 that have voluntarily left. We have 1 that have already been removed. And the other 23, in fact 24, will go through the process of being removed.
I'm not sure you answered the question I asked. I didn't ask how many you're tracking. I asked how many IRGC operatives or related to the IRGC are in Canada. I just want the number, please.
So what I will say is, Mr. Caputo, there's a number of assessments we've done. So first, there were close to 18,000 files that we've reviewed for admissibility.
Minister, with all due respect, I didn't ask you about how many assessments you did.
Mr. Caputo, I think it's important that...
This is my time. The Liberals are going to rescue the minister. I hope you were able to consult with officials and just give us a number. How many IRGC operatives or those related do you believe to be in Canada now? not that you're looking at, not that you're scanning. How many are there?
Mr. Caputo, we are in the process of going through 24 individuals who are deemed to be members of the IRGC for removal.
Okay, I didn't ask you, this is the last time I'm going to ask this. I didn't ask you how many you are going through. I asked you how many of a terrorist regime, how many, just the number of IRGC terrorists are there in Canada? If you don't know, then please just say, I don't know.
Mr. Caputo, this is a very serious matter, and if you will permit me, I will give you the answer that I think Canadians deserve.
Give us a number.
So let me just say right now there's 24 individuals who have gone through an assessment and they've been deemed to be members of the IRGC. That is the position of the Government of Canada. We are in the process of removing them, Mr. Caputo.
Okay, Minister, I don't think I'm getting a serious answer. Last time you were here, we learned that 32...
So I'm just going to stop right there and just explain who the IRGC is. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And in 2024, they were designated as a terrorist group. So Frank Caputo is asking Gary Anandasangari, how many are there? And he just continues to just meander. He says they're tracking 24, but how many in total are there? And the fact is, it really hasn't been publicized exactly how many. So he could have easily just said, I don't know how many, but here's what we're doing. And instead, as usual, we just can't get a clear answer to a question. So now Frank is going to move over to the 32,000 that they had reported last time that are on warrants, meaning that there's a warrant out for their arrest because they are in Canada illegally and they are supposed to be deported. So let's watch.
1,000 people was through CBSA had warrants for them, as in you didn't know where they were. A third of the city of Kamloops. What is that number today?
Well, that information, Mr. Caputo, is available online.
You're not going to tell us?
It's available online, Mr. Caputo.
Are you kidding me? No. It's okay.
I don't think there's anything funny here, Mr. Caputo.
Nor do I. Canadians, behold,
the president of CBSA.
Your public safety minister. Canadians are experiencing crime at an unprecedented level, and you just said, not my job to know, and for that, you should be ashamed. It is your job to know. The buck stops with you. That's my time.
So he didn't have the answer, and it's really that simple. He didn't know. He did not know how many. The last time they were there and they had this conversation and he was grilled at the House of Commons, we were told that there were 32,000 that were just, roaming around that should have been deported and they could not track. Okay. So now he's being asked, give us an update. And his response was, it's online. You can find it online. You as the Minister of Public Safety, you should be able to sprout that off the top of your head. You shouldn't be telling another member of parliament to go look for it online unless you don't know the answer, which is typical of these people that are currently in this position. So what happened then ultimately is he then spoke with Erin O'Gorman, who is the head of the CBSA, which is the Canada Border Services Agency, and she was able to give some answers. So let's just take a look at this.
You saw my exchange with the minister clearly, and you were aware that last time you provided a figure, and I think you probably know what I'm asking about, and that is the figure wherein how many people are on warrant at this time. Last time it was 32,000. How many is it?
Well, as I'm sure you know, because it's public and updated regularly, there are 33,000 people on immigration warrants right now.
I actually didn't know that. I don't have the time every day to go and check. So actually things have gotten worse since the last time you gave that number. In fact, there are more people at large now on warrant who are foreign nationals who, as far as I can see, are illegally in the country because they have a warrant for their arrest. Every time we come to committee, we're told it's going to get better. Can you tell us why it got worse?
So I have never testified about things getting better or worse. I testify to what CBSA is doing. So since the last time I was here, CBSA has increased its weekly removals by 50. So we've gone from about 400 a week to about 450 a week. But the number of cases coming into our inventory has also increased from about 500 a week to about 600 a week. And so, but just, it's not for CBSA a better or worse. It's about executing on our enforcement mandate.
I understand. Thank you.
And I want to also talk about the fact that we work closely with our law enforcement partners. Some of the people on warrant are actually in prison. And because they're on warrant, when they're released, our law enforcement colleagues will call us and we will come and take carriage of them.
Thank you. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. We're just told by the government that things are getting better, but things have gotten worse.
Indeed, they have. So Aaron said that there's 33,000 currently on warrant, and they are removing. Initially, they were removing 400 a week, and they've upped it to 450. But she also said they're getting between 500 and 600 a week that are on warrants. So let me tell you how many are currently in total right now. Backlog between 200 and 500,000 illegal immigrants right now in this country in total that have removal orders. So they're not even keeping up with the amount that are leaving versus the amount that are coming in, or sorry, the amount that are coming in system with warrants. So we're not any further ahead here, okay? And it shows. It shows in what's going on in this country. It shows in what's going on with crime. It shows in what's going on with all the backlogs, healthcare, housing, everything. It definitely shows, okay? So now we're going to move over to Canada's immigration minister, Lena Diab, who also just gives a lot of word salad and doesn't really answer any questions. And she's being grilled because we have a job shortage, major job shortage here in this country right now. Unemployment is at 6.7%. There are over 108,000 people that are out of work right now. Okay. And that's just between January and February of this year. In total, there's over 1.1 million people, and that's Canadians, that are out of work right now. Okay. And they have brought in 215,000 more temporary foreign workers, and they're taking up jobs at like Tim Hortons and what have you, which is making it difficult for Canadian students to find work. So she's having this question and answer period with Lena, and let's just see how that went.
Findings, you're going to issue another 215,000 foreign work permits of one sort of another this year. Why are you doing that, even though we know most of these millions of citizens won't leave the country involuntarily? Like, that seems kind of crazy to me. Like, why are you bringing in 200,000 more people when we have a really big youth jobs crisis to fill them with low-skilled foreign labor?
So we are aware of the numbers of temporary resident documents that are scheduled to expire each year. You know, a couple of things. Some individuals with expiring documents might hold multiple permits. It could be study, it could be work. Clearly, though, people who have expired permits are expected to leave. Even your leader has said that last week.
Yeah, but the problem
and so
is
I think,
you're not letting them.
No one should stay here longer than legally allowed.
No. You guys keep censoring me in this committee. The witness is obfuscating. She's trying to run the clock because she doesn't have answers to why she's letting her colleague Patty kowtow to Tim Horton workers. So did you tell your colleague Patty to take a flying leap when she said that Tim Hortons should get more temporary foreign workers after the jobs numbers came out last week? Like, why aren't those jobs going to Canadian workers? And why are you guys kowtowing to Tim Hortons?
So lovely performance as usual, Madam. Thank you for the question. We have a letter from many Conservative members who have written to me and to Minister Haidu and to another minister of requesting those changes. In fact, pleading that they require those changes.
That's right.
In their province.
They were pleading to end the temporary foreign worker program and replace it with a standalone program for agriculture.
Absolutely not the case.
No, it is, and I know for a fact.
Absolutely not the case. You were not copied on those letters.
Oh, I was, and I saw them, and now you're misleading the committee. Would you like me to read that to you, or would you like to say that that was a performance too? Look, I get it. Your colleagues have to cover for you. They go to the CBC to say they can't talk to you. You don't talk to your colleagues and the ministers about serious issues like this. That's a problem. I'm going to ask you this. You were supposed to be here for 2 hours today. Why are you leaving at the 1 hour mark? Is it because you can't handle basic questions like this? Like, why aren't you fighting for Canadian kids' jobs?
That's exactly what we do day in, day out. I fight for them as the minister. The government is fighting for them.
You guys are eating my time up because this woman can't answer basic questions on her file.
Ms. Rempel-Gardner, please calm down. We have to stop your time.
Don't tell a woman to calm down. That's very sexist.
Please, Ms. Rempel-Gardner.
It's ridiculous.
Would you like to finish? You have 39 seconds.
I can't imagine. Like, you know what?
Ms. Rempel-Gardner, did you want to continue with your questions?
Yeah, I'm on it. I mean,
okay. Thank you.
I understand why your colleagues, Lena, went to the CBC and said that you don't take questions and that they don't like you and think you're doing a bad job. Because you need people to interject over top of you to answer basic questions. You should do better. You should tell Patty not to kowtow to Tim Hortons. You should tell Sean to not allow judges to give leniency to non-citizen criminals. That's your job, and you're not doing it. You are a bad minister.
We are doing our job, and you're a bad performer. Perhaps you should go back to perform.
So, as usual, no answers. The bottom line is a lot of people are out of work. As I said, there's over 1 million people that are out of work. I have friends who own businesses that had to shut down their businesses. I have friends who own restaurants that had to shut down their restaurants. I have friends who have been unemployed for a long time. And I'm talking about my Black friends, okay? My Black people. I have friends who have sent 30, 40, 50 resumes out just trying to get work daily, okay? And when you go to click, you see over 100 people applied for this job, and over 100 people could be 300, 400, 500 people. The price of everything has gone up. Groceries, gas, everything. It is literally an absolute nightmare. And listen, I am not opposed to immigrants. If they're coming here and they are offering indelible contributions to the country, and they're working and living and thriving, absolutely. But you can't bring in more than you can even let out. You can't have hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants running around the country. And then you can't keep bringing hundreds of thousands of temporary foreign workers to take the minimum wage jobs, which, by the way, a lot of these companies are taking advantage of the temporary foreign worker program, and they're hiring, international students and what have you, and paying them minimum wage, like below minimum wage, which, by the way, the minimum wage has gone up to a little over $18 an hour, but they're paying them less and they're being abused and all that other stuff because they're just trying to, skim off the top, basically. So we've got a lot of things going on and none of it good, and it's not helping. I want to show you what a job fair looks like now, okay? And this is probably for maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 jobs. This is the lineup for a job fair in Hamilton, Ontario. Look at how it extends all the way down and around. And as I said, these are people that are out of work. These are people that are looking for work. These are people that are struggling to find work. These are people that are willing to take that 1 or 2, 3 jobs that they're recruiting for minimum wage just so that they can put food on the table. Look at this. So this is Hamilton, Ontario, okay? And this is what happens every time they say there's a job fair. This is how it looks. It's still going. All right. Now, this is a job fair in Toronto. And this is at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. Once again, maybe at the Metro Toronto Convention Center, usually there's a bunch of employers and they have like tables and stuff. So there might be more than 2 or 3 jobs, but look at this line that is never ending, just going and going. And this is just for a few jobs. So this is what we're dealing with here. And, you know, I would say that, especially for the Black community, this is an opportunity to really get knowledgeable about financial literacy and how you can save and be able to own your own. And when I say own your own, I don't just mean you own a company, but you are a renter within the dwelling of where you run your business. I'm talking about owning the building. I'm talking about mortgage free. I'm talking about being able to run your business and not be dependent on anybody to make ends meet. Okay. You don't want to be in a situation where the landlord for the place that you're renting to run your business says, oh, well, I can't afford it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and sell this business. You got to be out within the next 30 to 60 days. Right. So we have to get to that place where it's ours, and it is ours all the way, 100% ours. So that is the advantage of knowing how to manage finances and being very well versed in, you know, managing your books and managing your money and all of that stuff, because nobody wants to be in these kinds of lineups looking for work while they continue to allow more and more immigrants in. And the top country these days is India. So, you know, more and more immigrants coming from India, and they're just taking up these jobs. And not only they're taking up the jobs, they're doing the work. They're working hard. They're buying them. They're buying, like you heard Michelle Rempel-Garter talking about Tim Hortons. They're buying the Tim Hortons, and then they hire their people, and then they, you know, continue to grow, buy another one, buy another one, buy another one. So anywhere you go now, for the most part, it's owned by Indians. At least they understand the assignment. They are doing the work and they're buying. And I'm talking about the ones who are working, not the ones that are involved in criminal activity, because that's a whole other story for a whole other day. So we need to get to that mindset so that we are owning our own. We're entrepreneurs and we're building and bringing our people along with us. And we're not in the situation where we have to rely on the government or anybody else to live. And that is the key here, because this is not going to get any better. The Liberals have allowed this to just get out of control. It has become a massive snowball that just keeps going. Like I said, you heard 450 are going, 500 to 600 are coming, or at least coming into the system. Okay. 108,000 jobs in 2 months. You're giving 215,000 jobs to temporary foreign workers. So, and I'm not talking about the farmers, because the farmers that come down, a lot of people aren't here in Canada, aren't even interested in those jobs. Okay. But the students and what have you, and even not just students, because there are adults who are willing to take a job at Tim Hortons, but it's not being given. It's not being given to the people who live in Canada that are trying to work. So that's the problem. And a lot of people are mad because what we're seeing is that immigrants are getting preferential treatment. Immigrants are getting healthcare, they're getting housing, they're getting a whole bunch of things that people who live here are struggling to get. Okay, there are encampments everywhere. So that's the anger right now. And then on top of it, you've got this terrorist regime running around. God knows what they're planning to do. And the Liberals are not really giving any answers. Just a lot of gaslighting, a lot of projecting, and go look on the website and, just meandering, word salad, blah, blah, blah. And it's frustrating. That's why the Conservatives are really angry. And they're calling for these particular ministers to be fired by Mark Carney and his administration, because they're not doing the work. They're not. Yeah, Johnny Jackson, I agree with you. Um, so you're just Jackie, you're saying you believe the illegals are the ones that they let have the jobs? Yeah. Ah, yeah. Yep. So Andrew, you're telling me that C9 has been, yes, I know about C9. Yep. I know all about that bill. And you know what? Freedom of speech. I'm just offering statistics and my opinion, and statistics and my opinion, and everything that has been said is being said by the Conservative Party. So I'm not doing anything wrong here, but I appreciate you, looking out for me. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, this is Canada Mojo Heart. Yeah. Yeah, people are hiding, some in plain sight. Yeah. So Kim Baker, you're saying the entire world is in deep, troublesome, massive mess. Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like, where do you go, right? I know for me personally, I want to go home. I want to go home to my country, Ghana. I'm going home because this year, I'm so good with all of this. It's just sheer and utter madness. And I'm glad that I'm not in this situation where I've got to go line up to look for work, because I have I got my own stuff going on, okay? And I'm not allowing myself to be on this kind of plantation. It's just not going to be a thing, so it's incumbent upon us to be hungry enough to really have that the hunger to learn, the hunger to put in the work. We got to be willing to do all of that. Otherwise, we will be in these lines. We will continue to be in these lines. We'll continue to be clamoring like crabs in a barrel, trying to make our way out and make something for ourselves and our family, being stressed out, dealing with systemic racism, dealing with the baked in racial profiling, all of those things. Oh, your last name it sounds ethnic, so we can't, we're not hiring you. Or your hair is a little bit too kinky, so we're not hiring you. All of the stuff that we already have to deal with as Black people, on top of all of these barriers and all of this unemployment and the cost of living and all those things. So it's time for us to get hungry. Okay. So Black Rose, you're saying all the job fairs in the USA have only been for migrants. I'm not, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me, but in the lineups that you're seeing here, you're seeing actually people who live in Canada in these lineups trying to get work, and you see the international students and international people that are here on work visas and visitors visas and what have you, even visitors visas. Some of them, they're not supposed to be working, but as I said, there are some companies that are taking advantage of the temporary foreign worker program. So jobs are being handed to people that should not be working. And I know that the Canada Border Services Agency is pulling up to these companies and cleaning up. But again, let's talk about these numbers. 200,000 to 500,000 illegal immigrants roaming around in the country. We've got a number, we don't know what the number is, of the Islamic terrorist group roaming around this country. Then we have the unemployment rate at 6.7%. Over 1 million people are out of work in this country, okay? People in this country are very mad. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it when even somebody goes to a Tim Hortons and then they're dealing with trying to order a meal, and there's a language barrier. The anger, and it's like, my son can't get a job that lives here, and you have this job, and we can't even understand each other. It's a problem. So there's a lot of mad people here, a lot. So, Aurora, you're saying, how are they getting hired with no social, and how they're using their ID from their country that's expired? That's the question of the day. That's the question. Amazing Lovecraft, how are you? Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, I was just talking about the language barrier, or Aroma. I agree with you. You know, sometimes it's a little bit frustrating, especially when you order something and say you're ordering from Uber Eats even. There's been times where I've ordered some things and it would come and it was exactly the opposite of what I said, even though you write it, you pick it, or even if you're calling in, you're saying it, but still it just comes wrong. And it's like, oh my gosh, So this is what we're dealing with here. I know that there's a lot of that going on in the United States as well, in other parts of the globe for sure. But this is bad. This is bad, and this is very, very bad. So you're saying ICE, ICE, baby. Yeah, ICE doesn't do that here. ICE isn't here for that. They're not. They do have some ICE agents here, but they're not here to enforce immigration. They're here to enforce people that are here doing criminal activity that need to be arrested. And if they're not Canadian citizens, so they do that kind of stuff, but they're not here to, like what you see in the United States, that's not what they're here to do at all. So yeah, no ICE, ICE, baby here. We got the Canada Border Services Agency, which is supposed to be the equivalent of ICE. Okay. So that's those are the agents that are out here, trying to do some cleaning up, and those are the ones you see at the border and what have you. So, this is what we're dealing with here, and I just wanted to share that with you all. And just pray for us over here at the Great White North, and we'll pray for you over there on the other side of the border, that things hopefully get better for us, because boy, it is it's bad. And the Conservative Party is just literally just going off on the Liberals. It's really bad. And I'll share some more of these debates, because it's really important that we understand what's going on. And maybe that'll light a fire, put a battery pack into us, Black people, to really start putting in the work. So you said avoid Uber Eats and hot food deliveries. Yeah, I don't use it anymore, Isaac. I just don't. I really, really don't. I don't. I just don't. It's one too many times it was just done wrong. And also you see so many things going on, while it's at your door, before it gets to your door. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm so good. Yeah, I agree with you, Aura Aroma. I do. Anyhow, family, that's our pain over here. As I said, on this side of the border, and hopefully, things will get better. I don't know about that, but we can only hope. All right, we can only hope. But speaking of the Great White North, better news is that the African Diaspora News Channel team is coming in the summer. And despite what I'm saying about everything that's going on here, it's still a beautiful city. There's still lots of wonderful things that go on in the summer that are, pertain to us. Lots of different events. And African Diaspora News Channel is having an event in Toronto. And Philip will be coming, and Demetra will be coming, and Wangel will be coming, and Theo will be coming. So we expect you all to come and join us so we can have those conversations and talk, eat, have a good time. So let us just listen to what LaSherica has to say about this event.
July 25th, the Narrative Power Summit is landing in the 6. This is about ownership.
This is about controlling our story.
If you're serious about narrative power, strategy, and ownership, this is the room you need to be in. To get your tickets, go to africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I'll see you in Toronto.
And we hope to see you in Toronto. I put the description and the link in the description field here on this live stream. So I expect you all to get your tickets. There's an early bird special now. So take advantage of the early bird special, plan your trip. And to those of you that live close to the border, like Detroit and Buffalo, with Queenston, Lewiston, the Whirlpool Bridge, the Peace Bridge, all of you guys, the Rainbow Bridge, you guys are all close and you come across all the time. So just plan your trip July 25th. It's a Saturday. It's summer. It's at this beautiful venue near the lakeshore. I mean, just beautiful. Everything beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful time with beautiful people. And as I said, the ADNC team is coming. So you watch us every day here. Now you get a chance to see us in the flesh and meet us all. So I expect you guys to grab your tickets and share it along with everybody so that they can all get their tickets and come through and meet the team. So that's all I wasn't going to keep you too long on a Friday. It's Friday. I'm sure you guys have a lot of wonderful things to do and plan for your weekend. So I thank you for giving me 36 minutes of your time. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and I shall see you on the next one. Until then, please be safe.